Hello and welcome. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do another map video. It is a gloomy spring day. It's dark, all cloudy, so I figure it's the perfect opportunity to go elsewhere. And I decided on Italy today. I went to Italy back in, I think it was 2012, so, gosh, almost 10 years now. I was mostly in Tuscany. I did travel a bit. So I think I'm gonna go somewhere I didn't go, which is the south of Italy. I was only there for like a week, maybe 10 days, so I didn't have time to see everything, of course. And I've never studied Italian. I do know a little bit about the pronunciation from my days singing in Italian, although that was a long time ago too. I'm trying to think if I actually do remember. And I don't know if singing and speaking are the same, because in some languages I know it's not, so I apologize for what is going to be my best guess with Italian. And I kind of want to start here with this National Park del Gargano, Parco Nazionale del Gargano, and you'll hear I probably sound more like I'm speaking Spanish because I did study Spanish for quite a few years. Okay, so we've got Lago Di Farano, which is going to be a lake. Water can look so funny on these Google Maps. Okay, Natural Reserve. Let's see some pictures. There's a nice beach. I mean, Italy has a lot of nice beaches, doesn't it? It's a pretty picture. Spiaggia Isola di Farano. Spiaggia. What does that mean? So this is more of the beach here. I love that people post their sunset pictures and things like that. It's really sweet. It never occurred to me to go on Google and, I don't know, post a beautiful vista from a place I've been. I did leave some reviews the last time I went on vacation for really small spots because I had such a good time. And I wanted them to get more customers or whatever. There was this little bakery I remember, and I was like, everyone should just spend all their money here. What is this? Pineta Marcini. Oh. We've got a cave, the beach, rocks. That seagull looks very angry. Just angry. Maybe a little judgmental. Okay, looks like we found a town. I think it is a town. Doesn't look that big, does it? Although I guess it kind of spreads out. Well, let's start on the beach side. So we've got this Centro Storico Pescici. There's no way I said that right. Let's see what that is. Oh, I've got this beautiful little alley. Bright sunny day. And white buildings. I wonder what these are made out of. It looks like some sort of stucco, but really soft. Stone sort of castle walls. Ice blue water. Boats. Night lights. Night market. And this place looks really cute. Here we go, a medieval castle. That is currently closed. There's a view from the water. As you can see, this whole town is cut into the cliff on the seaside. It's all white. When I was in Italy, we didn't really go to the beach. We spent one day in a beach town, but it was kind of stormy. I've seen pictures of really beautiful places. This whole town is so windy. It's an interesting, and these look like orchards. This is not houses. These are trees, right? Now we've got a camping park for tourism. I know that's a big thing for people who don't want to spend any money while traveling. Rather than even staying in a hostel, they'll just camp at different places. Piazza di Procinisco. Look how clear that water is. I wonder if it's warm. It's the Mediterranean, right? It's got to be warmer than what I'm used to. But none of these pictures have all that many people in them. I wonder if we're not somewhere very popular. I'm guessing now from context that spiaggia means beach. So I've learned one word of Italian doing this. This is a restaurant right on the edge of like a cliff. Torre Calalunga. Tower Calalunga. Not much of a tower, it's kind of short, isn't it? I still just got more rocks and beaches and sunset pictures. This looks like resorts, fancy places. I'd rather see like a town. Hotels. Let's see. Beaches, camping. This all looks like orchards, doesn't it? Or maybe vineyards. I mean, it's Italy, so there's olive orchards and many, many vineyards. I did visit a couple. I am not a wine drinker, unfortunately. I love the idea of being a wine drinker, but I'm not. But I was there in Italy for part of it with my parents, who absolutely are wine drinkers, so I'm sure that part was fun for them. And a lot of vineyards have olive orchards, and you can get like olive oil, which is really nice, or olive oil based like skincare products. And so I find other ways to enjoy my time. And vineyards are just pretty. They often have like beautiful architecture and those underground rooms, which are kind of creepy, or like they're often beautiful, but they have that vibe, you know, like caves. I don't know. Like you could just go exploring and find secret rooms full of treasures, but the treasure is always wine. Lorenzo. Villaggio San Lorenzo. It still doesn't look like much of a village, though. It still looks like just resorts. I could be wrong. But when the beaches have these like chairs and umbrellas set up like this, like that's not a place where people live. These are just resorts. Oh, here's the town. Okay. Finally, a town. Let's see. Here's a castle. Castello Svevo Aragonese. Svevo. Okay. Here is the castle at night. Oops. I think views from the castle. Got this little steeple. Oh, that's pretty. I do love these cramped alleys with all the doorways. You know, we don't have a lot of spaces in the US that look like that. I know there are lots of places elsewhere that do. So it's always interesting for us to see that sort of thing. It always just makes me think of people who are living lives that are both very familiar to my own and very different every day. This kind of sparks my imagination. Let's see, there's a cathedral. When I was in Italy, every old town I visited, the thing to do seemed to be maybe go to an old cathedral and see the art, and go to a tower and climb the stairs. And each tower they would tell you the number of stairs you were climbing. But that was, you go to the tower and you climb the stairs. What is this? Why is the color different? And you look out at the town, which is of course beautiful, with all the roofs, all the different buildings, and this sort of haphazard spread of the city. And then you climb back down, go find a new place to climb. Oh, I ate so much cheese in Italy. That's what I did. I guess we always think of like France for cheese, but the Bay of Oranges. Oh, it's a hotel. Oh, Oranchi, that's orange. Like naranja. Oranchi. Beaches and hotels. Well, maybe there was a reason I didn't spend a lot of time in this area of Italy. Not a lot of people. This all looks... Are we still in the National Forest? Have we gotten not very far at all? No, we've moved. This is a national park. Okay, so this... Let's get farther away. Okay, here's a big city. Manfredonia, Manticchio, Lago di Farano, Manfredonia. Okay, this city looks way more organized. Like it's on a grid. We have everything with nice, neat streets and not haphazardly thrown around. We still have a castle. And Gioino, maybe. Oh, we got a man on a horse. Gelateria. When I went to Italy, my friend said you have to eat a gelato a day, which Turned out to be quite a lot of gelato. Then again, I have not had much gelato since I left, so I guess I was making up for the future. Cimitero. Bonobo. Bonobo looks like a resort, I guess. I wonder why that one was marked as like a tourist location. See that's the cheese I'm talking about. Cavalinia Beach. Okay, I wonder why it's beach now and it's not Italian. This one, Piazza, La Ultima. Seems like a matter of opinion. Let's see if we can find another town. This is a really pretty view though. You can see all the like farms and plots and how different colors they are, and it looks like art, to be honest. Like a stained glass window or like a shattered window. I always like that part of flying in airplanes, flying over the US, you know, you see the patchwork farms. They look different in different countries, of course, and you have different versions. In China, you have the rice fields, the terraces. But it does look cool. I mean, here it gets really stripy. I don't know, I do think it's beautiful. Okay, this looks like a big city here. Where are we? Barletta. It's not a big enough city that I've heard of it before, but it does look kind of cool. Okay, let's see what Barletta has to offer us. And I know Barletta is the most American way to possibly pronounce that. Santa Maria, the Porto di Barletta. Is the port pretty or is it ugly? Oh, it looks pretty ugly. Just a working port. Yeah. This might be a more industrial kind of city. Which is fine. We need those, I guess. But we still have beaches. And here, this is a little more chaotic, which to me always indicates a city is older. At least in Europe. In China, they planned their cities and tried to put everything on a grid. This is a museum. Palazzo della Mara, Pinacoteca de Nitis. Giuseppe de Nitis. This is very fancy. I do like his top hat. Oops. Oh, I like this. Her eyes look really haunted. It's really pretty. Colosso di Barletta. Oh, the monument, the Colossus. It's a pretty area. A night market again. So this looks like maybe the historic district. Piazza del Comune. It's like the town. Piazza Plebiscito. Plebiscito, maybe? Well, that's pretty. Yeah, definitely like the historic district. Got this monument with, I wonder what that figure is on top. That's a pretty courtyard. This does look like a nice place to visit. What is this? Let's see nearby attractions. Well, we got Google. Oh, finally a garden. Giardini de Nitis. So it seems like de Nitis was an important family here. We've got a community garden. Some palm trees. I know that artillery always belongs in a garden. This looks like, is it a citrus tree? Is that, are those mangoes? Something sort of tropically. I would call this less of a garden and more of a park, personally. The Villa Bonelli, which is also a garden. Are we certain about that? Looks a bit run down. Yet to see any, there we go, some plants. Flowering trees. Okay, here's some gardening areas. I'm very excited because today, on this gloomy day, about a third of my tulips finally bloomed. I've been waiting so long for them. And this is the first time I've ever planted really anything in a garden. Actually, I never had a garden to plant anything in, so I planted some tulips and I've been watching them grow and finally they bloomed. This looks like an amusement center for children. Interesting. Seller of the Challenge. That's an interesting name. What do we think the seller of the challenge is? Seller as in basement, not as someone who sells something. It is indeed a cellar made of stone. La Cantina della Sfida, I think is what that says. I wonder what the challenge was. Got some old-timey clothes. That is really pretty. Okay, Barletta, thank you for showing us your attractions. Now we found a new town called Trani. Look at the Castello di Trani. Okay, this is the best looking castle we've seen so far. This one is in the best shape. All the turrets have been square in Italy so far, but this one is really looking the best and seems ready to protect this town from any sort of maritime threat. We've got a clock tower here. It's funny that a picture can just look kind of warm. You know, like I don't actually know what the weather was here, but the sun is so strong. I can almost feel it. Does this look lopsided? Is the picture lopsided, or are there more leaning towers in Italy than I was led to believe? Murky waters. Okay, how about the Palazzo Lambert is how I want to say that. Farmacia, pharmacy, and the Palazzo. When I was in Italy, I could not stop my father from saying gratias. It was so close to grazie. It was very, very close, but he couldn't stop himself from saying the Spanish as at the end, so it was gratias. Which I think people accepted. Gaccetta palace. So this one looks a little bit more run down, this historical place. Interesting that the pictures are all at night. Some of the pictures people have chosen to put up of Italy are a little questionable to me. Like, here's this tourist place we went to, and, oh, that's pretty. Here's the parking lot. Okay, so this is the Cathedral Basilica of St. Nicholas the Pilgrim. And as we can see in this picture, the cathedral with its bell tower, I want to say attached, is not nearly as lopsided as the last picture. Although I wonder if either its height or something about the area makes people take kind of lopsided pictures. Maybe it is leaning a little bit. Seems a lot of these areas, they really didn't want any, like, flora. They really paved over everything with stone. That is interesting to me. Like, it's really pretty, but it would be prettier with trees. The Villa Comunale di Trani. Villa Comunale di Trani. Just the city park that's on the ocean. Monuments. See the boats in the harbor. That is some pretty lighting at night. Oh, this does look really pleasant. Okay. Like here. Oh, okay, good luck to me on pronouncing this, but I'm gonna go with Bisceglie. If you are Italian, I'm very sorry. Okay, but I'm not seeing any attractions, as Google has called it. Bisceglie have nothing to offer the world, / my viewing pleasure. Got grocery stores, hotels, McDonald's, of course. Maybe if we zoom in, okay, we've got a cathedral. Is, yeah, an old school cathedral. These are interesting stained glass windows. I don't think I've ever seen them like that. Like, they look like the shape of a bell. This is clearly more of a working cathedral, like a cathedral people go to than a tourist attraction. A lot of places are both, I guess, but okay. I don't know, we're not seeing much in this town, so let's find a new town. Moffetta. Okay. Oh, that's the hospital. What is this? Magiality. I was a doctor. Oh. It doesn't seem to be showing me. Here's a museum. Museo Civico Archeologico de Pulo. De Pulo. Let's see. Oh, we've got really old arrowheads that look like they're made out of like maybe like quartz or something. I don't know what the pulo means. No, this, I have no idea what's going on here. We've got a man. I almost wonder, like, what the shadows they're showing. Are we doing like Plato's allegory of the cave? What's happening here? Mostly it seems like, I wonder if these are some of the earliest human, knife is a kind word for it, but one of the very first tools that humans made were to take rocks and chip them until they had a sharp edge. And so we can find those around the world, basically, because humans be cutting. Okay. If I zoom in and look for, here's the town park. Piazza Garibaldi. Another nice sunset photo. That looks nice with all the trees. This clear, clear water. But see, this town looks a lot more organized. It might be a bit newer. Except, of course, for this little area here, which looks a mess. Viaggi Eventi. What is that? Oh, a travel agency. I feel like Google is tricking me with these colors. A garden. Giardino di Via Mamoni. So we have actual flowers for once. And a slide. Still not as many plants as I would expect in a garden. A little strange, Italy. Il Molo, what is that? Oh well, that's a lighthouse, the marina. Il Molo is the marina. Oh, I think I figured out the problem. I didn't ask. Oh no, I can get rid of that filter. It's just not showing me things. Oh, here we go. Now it is. The Mofetta. So this is an English word, and I don't know how to pronounce it because it's like diocesan museum, which of course would have to do with like Catholicism, but it's an art museum. It has a very cool room. Interesting. These look like little science posters that people do for meetings. More of these rocks. A monument. Al Calvario. Hiking area. Let's interesting. It looks very, very flat. And I think you can hear my dog having a dream in the background. That is him breathing as he chases squirrels in his sleep. I'm not sure I would call this hiking so much as like a really nice seaside walking area. The beautiful views. I guess, are these sunrise? We're looking east. It's gotta be sunrise and not sunset, right? It's to the east. Where are we? Yeah. So, I guess these are just early risers, which, to be fair, so am I. Okay. Il Grande Carubo. What is that? What is a carubo? And the answer is I have no idea. These pictures really didn't clear that up for me. Grota de Crocifisso. Oh, these look like cactuses, yeah. Okay, so we've got this like stone hut and what looks like a walking area with some flowers and pomegranates. And this cactus, that looks very, very cool. So maybe like a walking area with a couple cool sights. Not totally certain what's going on there. Okay, next town. This one is way smaller. But we've got something called Fountain of Tritons, and I am interested. We are in Giavinotsol. The Fountain of Tritons. Let's open this full size. It's really funny to me that the person who took this picture didn't get the top. That we've got these fish here, eels maybe, that are spitting water, and all these men holding them up. You can see it better. We've got market stalls all around. This big, big fountain, and then looks to be a church or cathedral behind it. And of course the harbor. The square looks hoppin'. Giavinotsol Centro Storico. Seems like in all these towns, people didn't organize their photos well enough, and they kind of mixed them all together on each attraction. I'm just saying. Okay, here we go. We've got a town that is not on the ocean, that, according to Google, has no attractions. Come on. Maybe if I mess with this a little bit, it will decide there are. Here we go. Lots of attractions here in the town of, well, I'm sure it has a name. Let's start with Obelisco Carolino. Oh, that is an interesting looking church. It looks not at all like the ones we've been looking at. Whereas I think it's the Obelisco. That is the tourist attraction here. Interesting. Another archaeologic museum. archaeology museum is probably what I meant. This is a cool vase. Got pottery this time. Art that looks pretty modern for an archaeology museum. Oh, this looks cool. I wonder if that's from like the Etruscans. It was. How about Volpano Silos Palace? That doesn't seem right. Oh. Looks very old and very pretty. And very hoppin'. Lots of people at these restaurants that are, you know, the terraces outside. That was one of my favorite memories of Italy. I went to Venice by myself, and everyone told me not to go. So like, oh, it's a tourist place, and it smells bad in the summer. And that was, I mean, clearly there were tourists there. I'm not going to pretend that there weren't, but it was so beautiful. It didn't smell at all, and I just remember, like, after spending an entire day exploring, I sat on a terrace drinking, it was a mixture of strawberry juice and champagne, and watched the sunset, and it was just so pleasant and beautiful and special. So, you know, you never know how traveling will go. Everyone gives a lot of advice. Traveling alone can be tricky sometimes, but I'm really glad that I ignored everyone and went to Venice. Okay, where are we? Where on the boot? Are we at the heel yet? Getting close. Let's go to Naples. Which I know is not, that's how Americans pronounce it. I'm pretty sure it's like Napoli, right? Or something. Let's see, so Naples is huge. I like that it's showing me all of the trains for some reason. I did not ask for that, but the Italian train system was pretty good. I recently read like a European, I guess, talking about how much they hated the Italian train system, and they kind of wrote about it like it was a horror story. I had zero problems with the trains in Italy in 2012. They got me where I was going, and nothing super weird happened. Other than, I guess I had one bad interaction with a customer, but that's not the train's fault, that's just people. People being people. Okay, Museo d'Arte Contemporanea. Looks like modern art. Contemporary Art Museum. That does look very contemporary. Okay, I love this little, it's not little, this large sculpture, I guess. It's very odd, but charming. Is there a horse up there? Oh, these aren't pictures of the museum, these are pictures. Oh, there is a horse up there. Okay, this is a cool room. Archaeology Museum. Oh, I love these big grand rooms. I love the feeling of being in museums and your sound of your feet on the floor. And I don't know. They're strange places. They're meant for things, and less so for people. What is he wearing? What's going on here? It looks like he has little, lions crawling up his arms. His hands are enormous, but I have no idea what this, shirt is or is meant to be. This guy's having a rough day. And by this guy, I'm pretty sure I mean Atlas. Okay, how about this museum? Cappella San Severo. Oh, wow. The lighting in here is striking. It's very intense. Looks like maybe it's a small museum. I kind of like those when they're a couple rooms that are just dedicated to one thing and they really just know what they're about and they do that one thing. This is a really cool statue. I mean, he's covered in a net. That is part of it. That's gotta be tricky to do, to say the least. That's very cool. And yet I love the draping of the fabric in marble. It is always such a beautiful and interesting effect, and over her face. Oh, this is very striking too. Wow. Okay, that looks very cool. Well, we might as well see what kind of castle they have here. Oh, well, that is a fine looking castle, and we've got round. I don't think turret is the right word, but I'm not up on my castle terminology. But instead of the square ones we were seeing on the eastern side of Italy. Well, this is a very impressive castle. Very large, pretty good condition. Highly defensible. Is there a university? Have we not seen the universities yet? This is a metro stop. Universidad. Let's see. That looks very impressive. Look at this courtyard. Oh, I do love courtyards. Yeah, okay, so this is a working university. We have a lecture hall here. Oh, it's pretty. Oh, very cool. I would love to see more universities in Italy. I guess I'm not very familiar with any of them now I think about it. This is the weirdest photo I've ever seen. Did someone edit it? What is happening here? That's the only photo? I gotta say, Google Maps in Italy is a little bit weird. It's just a little weird. Okay. Another museum. It's got ducks. It's funny because this building looks impressive, but then it's shorter than the other buildings around it, so it also looks a little small. this is an impressive room, a grand piano, very ornate chairs, an empty room full of marble. So this looks like it was somebody's very fancy home, and now it's a museum, which is cool. I do love seeing those. Where was I? Was I in New York, where essentially someone's entire living room got transplanted into a museum, and they took, I mean, it wasn't just the furniture, it was like the windows and everything they installed into a room in the museum. Maybe it was Philadelphia? Oh, I don't know where it was. Oh, that's not good. But it was very interesting that you could just see, like, this was someone's parlor. This is where they spent their time. This was all of their stuff, like, including their fireplace. I don't even know how you transport a fireplace, but they did it. So, I do think it's nice to see, like, a view into someone's life. I think it was that same museum had a floor, a very large room that was like being outside in a Japanese like house, so you could walk through the grounds. Anyway, museums are so cool. There are so many ways to present information and immerse people in that information, and I really appreciate that. It's not my area of specialty of expertise at all, but I do love seeing what people come up with. So yeah, I guess I'm ending this video on a note of support museums and to keep an open mind. I think a lot of us go to museums as children and find them boring or something and assume all museums are the same, but there are little local museums everywhere that are different or trying things. You never know.